It often feels like what we're doing isn't really producing anything at all. Just taking hot baths, just taking naps, just taking breaks, that is not enough, and it is not going to increase our performance. It is not going to deeply heal us and rejuvenate us well enough to continue to handle the demands of daily life. I recently heard someone say, quote, "I feel like I've been burnt out for so long that I need a break for the rest of my life." A lot of us can relate to, and I've definitely felt like that way a lot because there's just so much chaos and it never ends. When people tell me, hey, you really need to take a break or you need to take some time for yourself, my immediate reaction is, honestly, I don't think that I could take a break long enough to feel better. I honestly want to scream inside because there's two different things going on. For one, I literally don't have time to take a break. I mean, I've tried like a million times to take a truly satisfying break or a truly rejuvenating break. It's pretty much impossible because me coming into my room and just laying down and staring at the ceiling, decreasing some of the stimulus that's constantly coming into my life and in my brain, that is very relaxing for me because there's so much stimulus going on with the kids and everything. But inevitably, if I come in my room and I shut the door, immediately the kids are running in afterwards and yelling and knocking on the door and saying, "Mommy, mommy, mommy, mommy," inevitably. Even if they were playing just fine by themselves right before I walked into the room, as soon as I shut the door, it's like this little switch flips in their brains and they all of a sudden want to be with me. So it's very, very difficult, nigh impossible for me to actually take a break like that. Plus, there's this side of me that when I'm taking a break, I'm just running through all these things I need to get done in my head. I start to feel guilty. I feel overwhelmed. I feel like I'm not getting anything done. And then the third part of it as well is I cannot be in my room long enough to truly feel like I'm ready to go back out again. It just doesn't happen. I mean, I seriously feel like I could be in my room for the next 10 years and I still would not have enough energy and enough life and motivation to get back out there again. So this idea of being burnt out for so long that you just don't feel like anything is going to rejuvenate you enough to get you back out there again is extremely relatable. And this is part of the reason why I really started researching these different ways to become rejuvenated, to relax, to overcome burnout. And it's why I put together this 6-root system, because I realized that there are just different parts of my life that have to be addressed. And relaxing, taking a break is just one of those parts. People need to recognize that just taking hot baths, just taking naps, just taking breaks, that is not enough, and it is not going to increase our performance. It is not going to deeply heal us and rejuvenate us well enough to continue to handle the demands of daily life. The reality is that we live in this modern society that really does hold a lot of demands. There is a way that people used to live their lives that was very natural. It really did actually cater to all of these roots in a very natural way, and somehow we have lost that because we have all of these modern conveniences, which I don't want to get rid of. I like air conditioning, I like computers, I like technology, I love the modern advancements that we have, but it has really removed us from some of these natural ways to address natural human needs, which is part of the reason why we are becoming so burnt out in our modern society. If you look at the way that people used to live, most homes, most families lived in a sort of homestead environment where most of their energy, most of their time was centered around just surviving when you think about it, because they were working on tending their gardens and their fields, they were taking care of animals, they were making clothing, they were doing things that literally were necessary for life pretty much all the time. If they didn't, then they didn't have food to eat, they didn't have clothes to wear. When children were growing up, they spent a lot of their time outdoors. So did the parents. The families were working together a lot. They spent a lot of time together in doing these activities that sustained their lives. Because of this, it meant that children and families were very connected to the source of their food. They understood that their hard work had a very direct impact on their lives. Nowadays, it's very different. We don't spend as much time outdoors. We don't spend as much time together as families. The efforts that we make every single day, whether it's in our careers or in our families, the things that we are doing, the things that we are working on, often don't have as direct an impact on our lives, on our ability to live. It's not as direct. For example, say you're an engineer, you go to work and you're designing car parts, right? You're not going to eat those car parts. Those car parts aren't going to produce food for you. There's no direct connection, right? You're going to work, you're spending hours and hours and hours designing car parts, and then you make money, then that money is used to purchase food. You didn't make the food, you didn't grow it. It's very likely that if you're working as an engineer, you're not also working on a farm or a homestead, though some people do make it work. But the reality is that most of us are very disconnected from that food source. We're disconnected from the idea that what we are doing, the work that we're producing, the efforts that we are putting forth are creating life-sustaining activities. So it often feels like what we're doing isn't really producing anything at all. One of the problems with burnout is not seeing or not connecting the results of our efforts with our efforts. With that ancient homestead setup, you had effort that was put into growing crops or taking care of animals, and that directly resulted in you having food on your plate. Today, you can spend all day working in a laboratory or a factory or an office cubicle, and yes, you will eventually see some money in your bank account in the form of a paycheck, but that is not you working in a way that is directly putting food on your plate. It's indirect. You work in some other field, you get money for it, and then you pay for the food, which then ends up on your plate. But because of this disconnect, it often feels like what we're doing isn't producing any results. And that makes it very easy to feel burnt out because you're not getting that sort of immediate reward for your efforts. We need a way to make sure that we're addressing each of these 6 roots in better depth. And so I created this community where I'm starting to add all of these resources as completely free. And these resources you can access at any time. The list is going to be growing every single week. I'm going to be constantly adding stuff to this. I've created visualization and meditation audios that you can listen to. There's a whole bunch of PDF guides that you can download for a whole bunch of different types of goals. And like I said, I'm going to be constantly adding to this. Also, if you want to, you can totally come in here and post, or you can even just message me directly under chats and just request different resources. This is something that I want to be really valuable to help us all overcome burnout in real and deeply nourishing ways. I don't want us to keep getting stuck in this burnout cycle. So this is a way that we can connect with one another, and I can get a better idea of what's causing you to feel and experience that burnout and how I can help you, and what additional resources we can add here and share with one another to really help each other overcome this burnout. So all you have to do is just click the link down in the description, and it'll take you to the sign up page where you can sign up for this free community. It will be free for life for you. Once I develop this out a little bit, I am planning on creating a comprehensive program, which will also be free for you because this is free for life. So you will be able to access all of this. And once I finish creating all of it, it will still be free for life for you, but it will eventually cost. I will eventually be charging for this. That way I can continue to have the resources to spread this to more people. But for you early access people, you lucky ducks, you get to get on here for free. So make sure you click the link down in the description and let me know how I can support you in your journey. The book that I'm creating on these 6 roots is coming out at the end of September. Yay! I'm so excited. And it's going to go into depth on each of these 6 roots and provide some very specific game plans and blueprints for how you can turn ancient wisdom from the way that we used to live, but still apply that to modern day living and just really overcome burnout in very deep and deeply healing ways so that we can overcome it for the long run.